Yes are back with this new album, and it's a follow-up to The Quest, which was not that great, but in this video we're going to see if they can capture their classic sound on this new album. So Mirror in the Sky is their 23rd studio album. It was released on May 19, 2023 through InsideOut Music and Sony Music. Their first studio album with Jay Schellen on drums. He became a full-time member following the death of their longtime drummer Alan White in 2022. The band also dedicated this album to Alan White. So the album has 6 tracks on the main album and a bonus disc with 3 extra songs. So it's 9 tracks in full. I'm going to talk about all of them. You got 2 epics, Mirror to the Sky, which is like over 13 minutes, and Luminosity at around 9 minutes. You got some orchestral arrangements by Paul K. Joyce and that classic artwork by Roger Dean. The album received positive reviews from critics and fans. They praised its musical diversity and other things. I'll talk about that in more detail later on. And it was produced by Steve Howe, who produced the previous album. So some of the themes explored on this album are eco-consciousness, spirituality, connection, reflection, and time. So for example, the opening track, Cut from the Stars, is about like the environmental crisis and the need for human action. The title track, A Mirror to the Sky, is about the spiritual journey and the relationship between one's person and the cosmos. All Connected is about living beings, how they all live together and they're connected, and the power of love. And Luminosity is about life and death and how music helps. So the critics have generally praised The Mirror to the Sky. It's a step up from The Quest, a return to form for Yes. They highlighted the musical diversity, production quality, and the emotional depth of the album, as well as the skillful performances of the band. Critics at progarchives.com, they said that it has like this like Yes DNA throughout the album, and they used things such as wordless vocal sections and orchestral arrangements, and classic Steve Howe guitar moments. But some critics, for example, ultimateclassicrock.com, they pointed out that there are some weaknesses, like some of the verses are very generic, there's a lack of innovation, and the overall absence of original members, which is kind of like a big deal with some Yes members, being that some say that this is not really Yes, it's a whole different band, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But overall, the album received positive reception from both fans and reviewers. The average rating was 3.48 out of 5 on progarchives.com. The album opens with Cut to the Stars. Now here they immediately let you know it's a classic sounding Yes album. It has a lot of elements they had in their early 70s albums. The sound is somewhat futuristic. It takes the listener on a space ride, has that memorable bass guitar. The bass guitar is actually kind of funky, almost like a disco type of sound, but it works well with all the instruments they have. It has the guitars and keyboards, they're all kind of doing their own thing, and it's really a nice 5-minute opening prog rock track. All Connected is a 9-minute song. The first few seconds kind of sound a little bit like Jethro Tull, but quickly the song develops into classic Yes. It's a type of song that's more melodic than the previous one. The song progresses, it picks up a little, has kind of a bouncy type of rhythm. It has the feeling of like going on a space ride. Most of the songs do that. You hear the interplay of the different instruments, and they kind of seem to be doing their own thing, but they're doing it in harmony. I like the part which is at like 4 minutes where they completely shift gears and change the tempo. I thought that worked very well in the song. Song ends with some really smooth guitar playing by Steve Howe, and it just wraps up to be a really good song. Then Luminosity is the 9-minute song. It's just very big, it's epic, it's dramatic, and it's emotional. Now the song is pretty laid back. I remember 2 years ago I reviewed The Quest. Somebody commented saying that I used the word laid back like 10 times in the video. But I'm only going to use it once, and that's on this song. It's laid back. But the song has a very calming effect, and the vocals are very good. You hear some of the guitar parts, and it reminds me a lot of their earlier works. Living Out the Dream has some harder rocking aspects, kind of like mixing some of the like 80s albums with that hard rock with some progressive time signatures from their earlier works. I like the guitar riffs in the song. I think the only way to describe it would be that they play these like descending guitar riffs, and they were pretty cool. And then Mirror to the Sky, the title track. This is like this 14-minute epic song. Really cool intro. It's like southern rock and a style of a band like Leonard Skinner, but with a long runtime that goes through so many different changes. There's lots of instruments playing along with each other. The bass guitar line is very good on the song. You don't really hear any vocals until the 3-minute mark, and it's around this time when you hear like this cool like isolated classical guitar piece, which sounds very good. In the middle of the song, they mix some electric guitar sounds with some very atmospheric and spacey progressive rock keyboards. Second half of the song has a very grandiose orchestral section, and the song closes off with a harder rocking guitar section. Then Circles of Time is a soft and quiet song with mostly acoustic guitars. Very relaxing, one of the shorter songs in the album. It's under 5 minutes. The song also has some country undertones in the rhythm section. Unknown Place is an 8-minute epic. It has one of those acoustic rock guitar intros with a riff. It reminds me of something from like Fragile or Close to the Edge, that type of sound. The song uses 2 vocalists in the chorus, and I thought it worked very well in the context of the song. We also get more of that funky bass guitar in the middle of the song. Then we get an instrumental part, which is like a mixture of Phantom of the Opera, some classical guitar, and some psychedelic undertones. Kind of hard to describe, but they do it in the way the band knows what to do. 1 Second Enough is the penultimate song, and starts with something like haunting church organs. This is one of the shorter songs of 4 minutes. The rhythm of the song is kind of bright. It's kind of funky again. It's a typical prog rock song with lots of odd time signatures and electric guitar passages, and it's a pretty cool song. The final song is called Magic Potion, and I guess the way they describe it, or how I would like to describe it, is like smooth jazz with like a classic progressive rock sound. Another song with some guitar riffs that reminded me of Fragile and Close to the Edge. In conclusion, I think it's a big improvement from The Quest. Sounds a lot more like a classic Yes album. If I have to nitpick, it might sound a little bit somewhat recycled at times. I know there were a few sections of the songs that seemed very familiar and reminiscent of other songs, mostly from their early albums of the 70s, but it wasn't too much. I definitely enjoyed the sound. I have listened to the album 3 times already, and every time I listen to it, I enjoy it a lot more. I think it's going to be an album that I will return to often. I think it's probably the best progressive rock album of the year so far. I don't know if anything is going to beat it, but we will see. My score is a 9 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Please remember to like this video. It helps me with the algorithm. Please comment. I want to hear your thoughts on this album. Do you think it's a return to form, or are they just trying to like too hard to sound like their classic albums? And subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you haven't watched my review of The Quest, you can see that right there. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.